Boy, the stock market was way down again today as the rise of this coronavirus continues around the country and around the world. The governor of California declared a state of emergency here, and a lot of people are wondering what they can do. Even the rapper Lil Nas X tweeted, "No joking, does anybody know what I can do to help with the coronavirus situation?" Well, you know what? Thank you for asking, Lil Nas X. And yes, there is something you can do. It's called the ELBUMP. Now, you can do it with Billy Ray Cyrus, for instance. I introduced this on Monday. It is a way of saying hello without infecting each other, and it is spreading faster than the coronavirus itself. This morning, the ELBUMP made it to The View.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel is proposing an alternative to a handshake that he's calling the ELBUMP. So apparently this is what it is. So I'm going to try it out on you.
Will they show me? Yeah, like
the ELBUMP.
Yeah, this and this.
Okay.
Right.
Hi.
So, you know, after all this time, Howie Mandel is a genius.
That's right. He is a genius. He does the Mandel bump is his thing. But the governor of Nebraska posted this on Twitter today. You can see he is doing the ELBUMP with his fellow men. And this is shocking to me. Even the vice poodle of the United States is doing the ELBUMP today. Look at this. Here he is coming off Air Force Two, and there you go. I hope he hasn't been watching the show. The best part of the ELBUMP is you don't need a face mask, and not that you can find a face mask. There's a shortage right now of those face masks. Even though they don't really help prevent the coronavirus, people have been hoarding them, which puts doctors and nurses and people at hospitals at risk. And the truth is, you don't have to buy one of those. If you want one, it's very easy to make your own safety mask. And my trusty Guillermo is going to show you how you can do that now. Now, all you need is a few common household items. For instance, look at that, a coffee filter. Just get some duct tape, a coffee filter, strap it on, and breathe in those Colombian beans, okay? Our next one, yes, go down to the ground, Guillermo. If you don't drink coffee, why not try an old bra? Just strap it on and knot it up, right? Or for the fellas out there who might not have a bra handy, grab a slice of cold pizza and an extra thick rubber band, and there you have it. Excellent work, Guillermo. Thank you very much. Any flatbread will do. And now your mustache smells like pepperoni. This is interesting. This is a clip from the Fox News coverage of the Mike Pence press conference yesterday. And listen very closely to see if you hear what I heard.
What's the threshold? Will it be the number of deaths? Will it be the number of cases?
That's a briefing at the White House on the coronavirus.
I don't know, maybe Lou Dobbs is practicing his trombone. Our commander-in-chief is very focused on the coronavirus and has been trying to sell us on the idea that it's not a big deal. He phoned into Sean Hannity last night for another hard-hitting chat to once again tell the country not what the scientists are telling us, but rather what he's personally feeling about it right now.
We have a report today, the global death rate at 3.4%, and a report that the Olympics could be delayed. Your reaction to that?
Well, I think the 3.4% is really a false number. Now, this is just my hunch, but based on a lot of conversations with a lot of people that do this, because a lot of people will have this, and it's very mild. They'll get better very rapidly. They don't even see a doctor. They don't even call a doctor.
Now, we really would have been better off with a monkey president. We would have. Who cares what the immunologists say? Donald Trump has a hunch. Here's the thing. If you're president of the United States, you don't go with hunches. You have the world's greatest scientists at your disposal. You go with them. You listen to them. The only hunch you should have is the one in your back when you're leaning over that 12-piece bucket of extra crispy KFC. But don't worry, the president said a lot of people will have this, and it's very mild. It's mild like the salsa at Chipotle.
They don't know about the easy cases because the easy cases don't go to the hospital. They don't report to doctors or the hospital in many cases. So I think that number is very high. I think the number, personally, I would say the number is way under 1%.
Personally, he would say it's way under 1%. Will someone put a mozzarella stick in his stupid hole before he gets us all killed? It's so crazy. This is not a matter of opinion. This is science. He even floated the idea that people with the coronavirus could go into work.
So if, we have thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that get better just by you know, sitting around and even going to work. Some of them go to work, but they get better.
See, for him, going to work means sitting around watching 9 hours of Fox News in his underpants. So he doesn't understand what that means. I don't know. All he cares about is money. He's worried about the stock market before the election. So his plan is to pretend the virus away. And it's especially interesting that Trump would be okay with sick people going to work, because he said it the same day his commander of the Corona Task Force specifically told us to do the opposite of that.
A brief tutorial on prevention for yourself, for your family, and your loved ones. It's a good idea to stay home when you're sick.
What could there be anything sadder than to be Mike Pence? It is nothing you say means anything. You're like a semicolon. You really just, as Joe Biden gets ready to storm the White House atop his ride-on lawnmower, his opponent, Senator Elizabeth Warren, has dropped out of the race. In spite of her experience, her track record, and her skills in the debates, American voters ultimately decided she just didn't have what they were looking for in a president, which is a penis. And so Elizabeth Warren finished distant third in the delegate race. It's hard to argue that sexism didn't play some part in that, not just direct sexism. There are a lot of people saying, hey, listen, I'm fine voting for a woman. I would love to, but after Hillary, I just don't want to risk it. It's secondhand sexism is what it is. So now the question is, who will Elizabeth Warren endorse? Will both want the endorsement, Bernie or Biden? And that is a question she was asked during a chat with reporters outside her house today.
Senator Warren, will you be making an endorsement today? We know that you spoke with both Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders yesterday.
Not today.
Not today.
I need some space around this, and want to take a little time to think a little more.
So I guess Bernie has the edge. So the remaining candidates are now Bernie, Joe Biden, and Tulsi Gabbard, who's got kind of a fun real estate agent vibe going, but also only has 2 delegates, which means the stage is set for Bernie versus Joe. It's the early bird special. Basically, it's like when you're trying to choose which type of Breyers vanilla to get at the supermarket, and they've got the natural, the homemade, and the extra creamy. Which flavor will beat that chunky monkey in the Oval Office? I guess we'll find out. Hi, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. If you want to see all our latest videos, click the subscribe button. And if you don't, click anyway and close your eyes when they come on.